Welcome back to the program. I'm Zev Brenner, and we welcome once again to Bnai Zion Corner. Last week we had Bnai Zion Foundation National CEO Cheryl Beer on the program. Tonight we have the esteemed Rabbi Joseph Potasnik, member of the Board of Directors of Bnai Zion, as well as the Executive Vice President of the New York Board of Rabbis. And my competition, actually I put him to sleep on Saturday nights on WSNR 620 between 11 and 2 a.m. and he wakes them up on WABC Religion on the Line. So Rabbi Joe, it's good to march with you at the Celebrate Israel parade just the other day. So good to have you on.
Oh, thank you so much. It's always good to be with you. You are a major figure in the communications industry and always one who's out there speaking on behalf of the Jewish people.
Thank you, and so are you. And it was a pleasure marching with you and one of your guests on your radio show, father from the Bronx,
Bill Devlin.
That wonderful individual who loves Israel and not afraid. He was getting people whipped up and saying support Israel all along the parade route.
Here's a guy with a collar and a yarmulke who dares to go to all of the dangerous areas of the world. And when he goes, he speaks on behalf of the Jewish people. He speaks on behalf of the American people. He's not afraid to take a stand, obviously. And he's one who's there for us and there for all people who are besieged. So he can walk into Gaza and ask about a missing Israeli citizen, someone who wandered into Gaza somehow, someone who's a troubled young man, looking for him. He has contacts, and they know very well that he's a friend of Israel. But they also recognize, he's a faithful Christian, and somehow he walks with this sacred protection. So he's a great friend. We're honored to have him with us.
No, wonderful to see both of you in marching and just whipping up the crowds to celebrate Israel, which is really so important, a special day and age. And that's one of the reasons why I'm glad that you're here with us, because Bnai Zion does so much in Israel. But tell us, I know you're involved with so many different causes and have very limited time. What made you decide that you wanted to join the board of directors of Bnai Zion?
First of all, I'm very nervous when you say I have limited time, but I understand what you mean in terms of making choices today. Look, I am a great advocate for pluralistic Judaism. I think there needs to be a place where people of different denominations can come together, can communicate together, can coordinate together. The New York Board of Rabbis, for example, is a pluralistic body. Bnai Zion is a pluralistic body. When you come to one of their great initiatives, for example, the hospital in Haifa, Bnai Zion Hospital, and now they're working on a special underground center there, that hospital. When you come there, nobody says to you, what's your brand of Jewish life? When you go to the Ahava village, which helps people who have all kinds of challenges, no one says to you, are you this kind of Jew, that kind of Jew? Doesn't matter. When you go to Ma'ale Adumim, where Bnai Zion is heavily invested, again, nobody questions which part of the people do you support. So I'm very much in favor of sacred space, and sacred space to me means to me you have to be comfortable as a Jew wherever you are without being attacked.
No, it's so important, and you've really highlighted the fact how Bnai Zion, and this is so apropos of Israel's 70th anniversary celebration, that it's building more and more projects in Israel and it's strengthening the state of Israel, and you just mentioned, I think, some of the very important projects that are being done, whether it's a Hava village or the emergency underground, the room for the Bnai Zion Hospital in Haifa, which is so important. So,
and Zev, you should also know that because of the great work of Bnai Zion, there are Christians who have become involved and support the work of this great organization. Over the years, I've met a few of the Christian leaders who say, look, we support Israel, we support Bnai Zion, we want to help the people, and this is one of those special groups that is able to have an outreach that is so inclusive. So I'm a big fan of Bnai Zion. The leadership there is outstanding, and it has grown the umbrella. More people are standing under that umbrella. More people who say, look, at the end of all of this, I need to reach people. It can't just be about me. It can't just be about a few of us. It has to be about as many people as possible in the Jewish world. So Bnai Zion has that large umbrella, that big tent, we call it, where everybody is invited to participate.
By the way, have a debate. You call it Bnei Zion, some people call it Bnei Zion. What's the halacha? What does Jewish law mandate, Rabbi?
Depends. Well, if you make out the check, to Bnei Zion or Bnei Zion, it can be cash. So the bank recognizes both names, and I'll go with that any day of the week. I wish, by the way, Zev, that were the only problem with the Jewish people, that we were arguing about Zion, Zion. However, it's very, very. Sometimes it's disheartening that we are so divided. Look at the landscape today in our country, where there's this great political divide. It's always, I'm right, you're wrong, and you're an idiot. So we need those aggregate spaces where people are not denigrating the other. Too much divisiveness, too much denigration. There's an old Chinese proverb that you don't remove a fly from your friend's head with a hatchet. And I think some people always have that hatchet out. So, it's refreshing when suddenly you walk into a Bnei Zion meeting, and I've been a member of the board for several years. You walk into a Bnei Zion meeting, and nobody asks you, what's your denomination? They don't suffer from denominationitis. All they know is that you're a member of the Jewish people, and we're happy to have you and happy to help you. So we all work together. I'm just one who is very, very taken by the many heralded achievements of Bnei Zion, and I think people who learn about the organization will also become engaged.
No, very important, and as you said, no matter how you pronounce it, they do wonderful work, and whatever denominations you're able to give, it's very much appreciated. Correct, Rabbi?
Exactly. We all need friends. Ed Koch used to say we need friends, and we as Jews certainly need friends. So when you have organizations that are able to attract people from different groupings and say, look, whatever our belief is, we're going to put that aside and stand together because we support the aspirations of your organization. So Bnei Zion is there. I'll go to a meeting. It's interesting. I'll go to a meeting at Bnei Zion, and I'll sit next to someone who I know is Orthodox. I'll sit next to someone on the other side who knows Reform, or someone who doesn't, identify with any particular denomination, someone who's post-denominational, someone who claims to be spiritual. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. What they care about is that Ahuvah village gets help. They care about a hospital in Haifa where I've been. I remember seeing some of the holes in the walls because of the attacks. But thankfully it's fortified. So people go there, and the head of the hospital, interestingly, is named Dr. Rofeh. You can't ask for a better name for a doctor of a hospital than Rofeh, which means doctor. He is one of the kindest people I've ever met, and to be a doctor and to be kind to me is a great combination. So Bnei Zion excels as a people outreach place. And I think everybody should learn about it because, look, we all have limited time. We all have, our priorities. But there's a time to reprioritize, to say, where am I going to devote as much time as possible? And for me, it's the New York Board of Rabbis, it's Bnei Zion, it's other places where I see the impact it has on those who need our strength and support.
Before I let you go, if people want to learn more about Bnei Zion, Bnei Zion, however you pronounce it, it's certainly an important organization. Where can people learn more?
Well, go on the website, bnaizion.org, or you can call them. I think it's 1212-725-1211. I'm not reading any of this, by the way. I just called them so many times and spoken to Cheryl, who's the great CEO there. Spoken to their other staff people. Rebecca now is involved. Rebecca Harari.
Terrific. Both of them.
Wonderful people there. So 1212-725-1211, or you go on the website, bnaizion.org. Learn more. They have great literature. But then when you go to Israel, hearing doesn't compare to seeing. So when you see what they do, in addition to hearing what they do, I think you'll be persuaded that this is where I want to give my effort, because what's more important at the end of the day than helping other people? The word achrayut, for responsibility in Hebrew has the word acher, which means other. We have a responsibility to one another. You have to help the family first. We help the Jewish people first. Bnei Zion is the place. And think of the New York Board of Rabbis as well.
And I want to thank you for the important work that you're doing. And Rabbi Joseph Potasnik is a member of the Board of Directors of Bnai Zion, as well as Executive VP of the New York Board of Rabbis. And you can hear him Sunday mornings on Religion on the Line on WABC Radio 770 AM, I believe, from 6 a.m. till 9 a.m., correct?
No, we're now 7:30 to 9. They let us sleep an additional
7:30 to 9.
So you can, you can. You're good until 7:30 in the morning. You can go on the air, but you got to get off 7:30 to 9. We got to make room. Excellent program. Thank you so much. You always do. You make room for other people all the time.
Thank you.
Thanks,
and next week we're going to have on Rebecca. You mentioned Rebecca Harari. She's the Senior Vice President of Bnai Zion. She'll tell us all about the organization's upcoming events, exciting plans for the future. So there's something for everybody at Bnai Zion. Rabbi Joe, good to speak with you.
Always good to speak with you, and let's see one another at celebrations of life.
Amen. And we're going to be right back. Don't go away. Stay tuned.